it was one afternoon. This was my first transfer, so I have to give most of the credit to my senior companion at the time. Pretty awesome guy. Uh, but we were on our bikes that day. We had our area was large. It was a pretty large area for this, since we covered more area being Spanish. I think there were 7 or 8 English elders within our area, but we covered all of them to cover all the Spanish missionaries. So we had a pretty big area. So we usually had a car, but a few days when we reached our mileage limits, we'd take our bikes out, and we had planned to go knock doors on a certain street. But as we were going out of the apartment, we looked up and there were some pretty large thunderstorm clouds coming. So we're like, well, maybe we should change where we're knocking closer to home, so if it does start pouring, we're not caught in the rain, soaking wet with everything. So we were kind of thinking about that, but to my senior companion's great decision, he was like, no, let's go. If it rains, it rains, but let's go to where we'd planned to go knock. So okay, well let's go, let's do it. So we went out quite a ways, a few miles out, and we're knocking doors. But we ran into a woman who invited us in, and we were able to share a lesson with her. But she was very interested in having more lessons. So we went back a few more times later, and she was going through quite a difficult time in her life with her family. She had a few kids, and her husband wasn't able to be there. So we passed that family off to the sister missionaries in the area who continued to teach. And then I left the area, but later she and her entire family, husband and children, were all baptized. And before I left my mission, they all went to the temple, which was pretty incredible to think that, knocking often isn't very fruitful, but just with that simple decision, if we decided to not go to that street that day, she probably wouldn't have been home if we went later, because a lot of times people are home at different times, or she might not have been. She was going through a hard time at that moment in her life, so it was opportune that we were able to be there. Whereas if we weren't there, she wouldn't have been able to hear the message at that time, and maybe not have been kind of open or hardened or later. So it was very nice that we were able to be there in the time when she was willing to listen, and to be able to share messages that really did improve her life and bring her family together. So that was definitely a pretty awesome experience.